So with alerts taken care of, we can now go ahead and start transitioning the StackNavigation to StackNavigators. And that's kind of at the core of our application. So if I go into my layouts directory and check out this tabs, you can see that we're using StackNavigation, each one of our tabs. And basically what that's allowing us to do is click from screen to screen within the different tabs and just kind of keeping the awareness between all of these different tabs. So it's just this big infinite loop right now, and we want to go ahead and replace those with the StackNavigator, which comes from React Navigation. To do that, the first thing we're going to do is create a new file inside of our config directory, and I'm just going to call this one routes.js. And in here I want to import the StackNavigator from React Navigation, not React Native, React Navigation. And then I'm going to import all of my screens from the actual application. So I've got 10 different screens at this point. And I'll say, and now I want to go ahead and actually create my new StackNavigators, which we'll use for each one of the tabs, or on Android, which we'll use inside of the drawer. So first thing I'm going to do is say export const stack1 is equal to a StackNavigator. Okay, and this function just takes an object of configuration, and that configuration is representing each key within our object is representing a separate screen. So I'm going to say screen 1, okay, and that's going to have the screen. The actual component's going to be screen 1. And then I'll just go ahead and do that for all of my components. So the first one's going to have screens 1 through 3. The second stack's going to have screens 4 through 7. Third stack's going to have screens 8 through 10. So I won't type all that out, but okay, so here you can see that I've got all my StackNavigators actually set up. Now we can go ahead and actually start using those. First thing we'll do is switch over to the tabs file. And I want to actually import those different StackNavigators that we just set up. So I'll say stack 1, stack 2, and stack 3. And that's coming from config routes. Okay, now I just want to go ahead and actually replace these StackNavigation, that components that we've got inside our app right now, with stack 1, stack 2, and then finally stack 3. Save those and everything should render correctly for us, as we can see here. However, if you see up in the navigation bar, nothing's showing up there, and if I actually go and try to click one of these, we get this error. So now we need to go ahead and update the actual API for displaying things in the navigation bar as well as progressing from screen to screen. First I'll take care of the navigation bar, so I can just close these tabs, and then I'll just do one screen, but you'll have to do this for every one of your screens. So I'll go into my screens directory, open up screen 1, and then you can see here I've got this static route, and this has been renamed in React Navigation, or the name they're using in React Navigation is actually navigation options. And then for the title of the navigation bar, all we need to say is title, and we will say screen number 1. Don't need that. Save this. Okay, and you can see screen 1 is showing up again. So the next thing we want to do is actually fix this.props.navigator.push. And to do that, all we need to do is say this.props.navigation, and then instead of push, we want to say navigate. Okay, and the other thing, just because of the way I name them, I'll have to change the actual screen we're pushing to because I used a capital letter now. So if I save that, we've got the navigation bar title in place now, and I press that, we go ahead to the next screen. Okay, and it's very straightforward, simple migration, and you can just do like a find and replace to do that for all the different screens in your application. Okay, and then I'm going to do two final things, and this is not necessary at all. This is just kind of how I'm keeping track of everything that I need to do. Since we're no longer using this router in any way, we can actually delete that file in just a moment, but we still need to pass a router to this navigation provider, which is necessary for the tabs navigation as well as the drawer navigation, which we'll need to update in a moment. And to do that, I will, up here where I'm importing navigation provider, I'm also going to import create router, and then I'm just going to create this little dummy router for right now, and that's just going to be create router, and I'm just going to return an empty object from that. Okay, and with that I can go ahead and delete this config router file, and actually delete the file itself because we no longer need that. And before we move on, and just so I don't forget, we need to also replace the StackNavigation in the drawer. So to do that, we'll just import the different stacks we need and go through the same process for the drawer as we did for the tabs. Stack 2, and then finally stack 3. So if I save this, actually check out the Android emulator, make sure it refreshes, you can see that since we're no longer using the StackNavigator as we were before, that comes from ExNavigation, we're not getting that icon up in the top left corner. However, we can still open up the drawer by clicking and dragging on the left, and you can see that everything's working as it's supposed to if you updated everything. So looking at the home page, I click this, it'll bring us to the next screen.